I'm just trying to make my way into heaven, y'all. Now, I didn't watch another podcast for y'all. Okay. Now, this one was 2 hours. And half the time I want my money back, my time back, because Lila and Ashley, we're going to have to get into it, y'all. But make sure you appreciate the channel. You show some love, because this interview was unnecessarily long. It did not have to be 2 hours. So let's get into it. Now, this is my first time watching this Dear Wifey podcast. I've heard about it. Some people I follow on social media have been on it. But it feels like at times this man uses God, church, all that stuff to kind of make excuses for Tyler and help him make excuses for himself. Now, it feels like, to be honest with y'all, the man just watched Jessie Woo and Story Time with Ricky. I think that's her name, Ricky. Okay. He didn't really, I don't know if he really watched the show. I don't know if he's been following the blogs and all the other interviews. It feels like he sat down, or his team sat down, watched a couple Jessie Woo videos and a couple Story Times with Ricky. And that's about it. Okay. I could tell you ain't really watched the show, my brother. You ain't really seen a lot of the details. You are going off bits and pieces that probably your team have put together so that you can do this interview. And he starts off by saying, you know what? People said I should have him on the show, blah, blah, blah. I really didn't want to, but I want to give this man the opportunity to speak his piece. Okay, buddy, you want the likes, you want the clicks just like everybody else. Okay, just say what it is. You ain't gotta say because God said something to you. You ain't gotta say because you want to help this man heal. Just say you did it for the clicks and the money, just like everybody else. Okay, because I could tell. Do you really know the facts, or do you know what you just saw on Jessie Woo's podcast? Did you really watch the show? Okay, because it didn't give you a watch the show, buddy. You didn't sit through all them episodes like the rest of us did. All right. Now, okay, Lila, he talks about being a people pleaser. And a lot of people are people pleasers. But are you a people pleaser at this extent? That your life is chaotic, that it's messy, you got kids running around, okay? Are you that much of a people pleaser that you will try and do the most to please for your wife? But what about them kids? I feel like he is people pleasing for all the wrong people and all the wrong reasons. I don't know if I could really say that he's doing this because he's people pleasing. I feel like it's more of like the trauma that he has been through. And I'm not using those things as excuses. I just see over and over again with his words, the things he says. He does not have a male influence. He does not have that direct mirroring. He does not have all that stuff to have him walk down a path where his life ain't messy like it is. Okay. And now throughout this interview, they just, to me, really went through Jessie Woo's interviews, went through Ricky's story time, and did some bullet points about what they want to ask him about, because basically Tyler was really refuting a lot of things that we heard and have been said by Bree, the ex, the mama, all those things. It wasn't really a flow of let's hear your own story to me from your own kind of, it was his narrative, but y'all know what I mean. It just kind of felt like he came on there to kind of refute what other people are saying on these other podcasts. And I didn't need that. I didn't need 2 hours and 44 minutes of that. Okay. Tell me, what are you doing to make a better you? Tell me, what are you doing to kind of move on from this? But instead of, I think, taking real accountability, because that is the word of the year, accountability for your actions, it was more of a, hey, I'm going to focus on Bree. I'm going to focus on her mama. I'm going to focus on what she's doing, what she said that's not true. I'm not trying to smear her. I'm really not. I'm not trying to make her look bad, but she did have an abortion. Okay. She was thinking about not being here no more. Now, I don't want to talk about, and these are his words. Now, I don't want to say, what she was really going to do at, the mental state that she was in, but she did talk about not being here no more. What side are you on? What you going to do? You going to talk about and focus on yourself and take accountability and talk about where you are? Or are you going to focus on Bree? Because it felt like he was focusing so much on what Bree said, what Bree is doing, the choices that she has made in her life, instead of I focusing on myself. And people struggle to take responsibility for where they are in their lives. And it is so easy for people to get on these platforms, buy a mic off Amazon, hook you up some cords, get you a nice couch in the background, a little logo, and talk about other people. Okay? Instead of like, okay, I want to come on this show. I want to take accountability. I want to move on with my life because my wife is pregnant. I want to make a new for myself. And I want to take some responsibility. No, I ain't trying to do that. See, what I saw on Jesse's podcast was, remember when Bree was sitting down and she said that I was a deadbeat and I wasn't really in their lives? It's because I was never meant to be. And see, also, let me show you when she said this on this podcast, that ain't true either. Okay. And what about the time that her and her new fiance, let me pull up my notes. You see these pictures of me with the kids, with the teacher on that says dad? That's because they didn't really know me. I had to write that here so they knew that I was a daddy. I can't make this up. I wish I was making this up. And then every time the guy who's doing the podcast will throw him the ball, and I'm gonna let you shoot it right and tell me, why you made the decisions you did. And then I'm gonna go back and say, see, my brother, that makes sense. See, I get why you did that. Okay, it made sense. Okay, I need him to go on a podcast. Do I ever want him on any more podcasts? Okay, I think it's just time for Tyler to just move on with his life, disappear for some time, be like the couples who go on this show and who are really successful, and we never hear from them again. We never see them again. They just fly away in the wind. They be off and they be all like gone with the wind, fabulous with their relationships. You rarely hear from some of these couples unless you follow them on social media. The only real couple we kind of hear from is Cameron and Lauren because they have a podcast. You briefly see sprinkles of Brent and his wife, barely. Okay, I don't really follow Chelsea and Kwame, but a lot of these people, you don't hear from them, the successful ones. As much as Netflix throws them away and they move on with their lives, it feels like at times Tyler is caught up in the madness. And to me, that is his trauma. Okay, his childhood. All that chaos, he is replicating now as an adult man in his relationships. And I feel like he is so used to the chaos, he don't know how to get out of it. It's addicting. It's his comfort zone. It is what he is used to. It to me is what a lot of men are used to, is being in that place of my comfort zone is chaos, manipulation, lying, survival mode. Okay. And I feel like we don't see and talk about enough men being stuck in survival mode. And Tyler's a prime example of a man who has never gone out of survival mode. And to me, Ashley is an opportunity, a life vest, a life vessel, y'all, to get out of survival mode. And he says, and he talks about, why are people mad? And the guy said, I don't know his name. I don't really care at this point. The guy also says, yeah, people are mad at her because that she chose you. You know, women, they gonna stick together, blah, 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 blah. You know, that man rhetoric. Okay. But to me, the audience is not mad at her. That's where y'all got it wrong. The audience is disappointed. There is a difference between being mad and disappointed. And I feel like the audience that has watched this show, watch all of the chaos, watch all of the manipulation, the lying, all of that, the rubbing on the stomach. Okay. It's the disappointment. I think people want better for her. I think people want better for themselves. And in some ways, watching Love is Blind this season, some people were living through her, which is not healthy. But I think some people were living so much through her that they wanted better for her, because in return, maybe I can see better in myself. Maybe if this black woman on TV finds the man of her life, makes it work, has her happily ever after, that is a reflection for other black women watching this show that maybe I can have some of that too. But instead, it was a reflection of the bullshit that we deal with, the bullshit we find ourselves getting into, and how we miss and have blind spots for the bullshit. Okay, so to me, it was not about people being mad. I think they are disappointed and they want better for Ashley, because Ashley is a reflection of a lot of black women and the things that we go through in dating and relationships, and how we get stuck in certain points in our life and we cannot get out of that. So to me, that is why the world has been mad. Okay, madness is a surface level emotion. The deeper thing to me is disappointment. Like, you can be mad on the outside, all of that madness, how it shows up in your life, but the disappointment is the deeper emotion that we don't discuss and focus on. And so people are not mad, they are disappointed because they want better for themselves. And every season these black women go on these shows, and even though we're not a monolith, we're not cookie cutter or multifaceted, these shows in some ways for some people represent their love stories, represent their lives. And maybe if I see a black woman on TV find her happily ever after, it might give some women hope that, hey, I can find it too. Okay. But over and over again, I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities for him to tell the truth, own it, live in it. And did we really need this podcast? No, we did not. Okay. And if we were going to get him on a podcast, get him on a podcast with, what's that new doctor lady that's been everywhere? Cheyenne. Okay. Get Cheyenne a mic and get him on a couch. Somebody who's really going to dig deep, bring up the different issues, really focus on that. And that's the difference between these people having a podcast, even though he said he is not, he's not a therapist. He did say that he does not have the tools to go deeper with him. I think sometimes these podcasts are used as a vessel to try and go deep with people, and the people holding the mics, they don't know what they're doing. They don't have the education. They don't have the understanding of how to go deep in some of these interviews. And that's what's missing, is the details, the digging deep, the richness that I think people can use it as a way to learn about themselves, as an audience, as someone sitting on the couch, because we're having just a robust amount of podcasts with no value. And it's interesting because it's called Dear Future Wifey. All these podcasts have all these relationship things, but are they providing value? I really don't think so. And here, what's the value in it? What, as an audience member, someone viewing it, am I supposed to get from it? Am I supposed to get men can change? Am I supposed to get taking accountability? Am I supposed to learn about myself? You can, as a man, learn from yourself from this, from a standpoint of, it just ain't me. It's a bunch of other men out there stuck in survival mode, stuck in chaos, having babies. Okay. And he says how he didn't sign up to be a father. He wasn't really a part of them kids' lives. The evidence shows, bro, that you were there. I don't know if it was a full-time father, it was a part-time, but them kids know you as they daddy. And as much as you want to try and separate yourself from whatever the type of relationship y'all had, it was messy. Y'all was messing around. Y'all was having fun, dipping and dabbling, not thinking about the repercussions. And it feels like he's trying to say he felt bad for her. That's why he helped make the donation, because she was potentially going to, do something to herself and not really be here, because mentally she wasn't in the right space, and the baby saved her life. I think he's saying the son saved her life. It's messy all around. Everybody involved. It's a mess. Nobody should be having a baby to save themselves. And you should not be helping a woman have a baby to save herself. You are wrong too. Everybody is wrong. All right? Now, I'm sure we all gonna hear from Jesse Wu and story time with Ricky. That's what everybody waiting for. But as a therapist, I just feel like it just shows how chaotic relationships are, how chaotic your childhood is, and how you bring that same chaos into your adult life and you blossom children out of that. And so those kids are still in this system of chaos, even though they're probably not old enough to be on the internet now. Eventually, these interviews are going to come out, all these different things. And he's saying he's trying to protect the kids, but are you really? I think the only person that Tyler is trying to protect is himself and maybe Ashley. Okay, he says all he needs to answer to is Ashley. And if Ashley wants to accept Tyler, liar, whatever he is, as her future baby daddy, her future ex-husband, the love of her life, if you was my best friend, okay, if they want to cha-cha slide down into parenthood, go for it. But I want and hope that y'all can heal and not bring that same chaos into this new set of children y'all will probably have. Because the first set that he got are stuck in that cycle of chaos, the generational cycles of trauma that came from his childhood and their moms is filtering right down into epigenetics, right into them. And now he's going to have some more kids, another set of kids. So I just want to know, y'all ready for the baby photos? Y'all ready for them to be, rubbing the stomach? Y'all ready for that? Let me know y'all thoughts, because of course we can always get into it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.